Hey ladies, I've spoken with a few of you guys in the last few weeks, or you guys have spoken to me about intermittent fasting, or that you're having some kind of fasting period, and I just want to take the opportunity to provide a little bit of education around it. It's one of the strategies, like with a whole lot of other fad things, if you like, that come into fashion and people want to give a go with. Except that intermittent fasting has a whole lot of research to show that it's a really effective way for fat loss and to maintain fat loss. So you qualify that with that there's a few nuances that you need to be really cautious of, or a few rookie mistakes, if you like, that you can make. And one of those is that fasting means fasting which is no calorie intake. So a few of you, when you've spoken to me, said, "Oh, Brendan, I'm going on this. I've been fasting for the morning, but you might have had 2 or 3 cups of coffee or tea with milk in it." So if you have a look at a serve of 250 ml of milk, it has about 12-13 grams of sugar in it. So that's the opposite of fasting. So it's just to if you're wanting to use fasting as a so yes, it can get you some very, very good results very quickly. Yes, it's a very effective fat loss tool. Yes, it's a way to help stabilise blood sugar levels and blood and hormone levels, including growth hormone. So it has many benefits. So a couple of pointers. One is that for women, what we know is that women don't need as much of the window as men. So for example, men can see more notable results with, for example, reducing the eating window to 6 or 8 hours. For women, usually fat loss works not in the favour of women for many things, but for fasting, some good evidence to show that only or as low as a 10 to 12 hour fasting window is effective for fat loss or for maintenance. So that is not that much longer than what you normally do. So if you're having your last meal at 7, at dinner time 7 or even 9 o'clock at night, that means that you're, by 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, you've already had that 10 to 12 hour window. So what I encourage you to do for all of these kinds of things is see how well it works for your body. One of the qualifiers for women is that for some women it's just not as an effective tool because of the hormone profile, your own hormone profile. So if you're the kind of person that's prone to mood swings, or to blood sugar levels, or to really high and low fluctuations, you're quite sensitive to blood sugar fluctuations, then maybe intermittent fasting is not for you. If, for example, you've tried it and you've found that yes, it is having it's not affecting your mood too much, but you can do it from the point of view of so you can sustain it from the point of the mood, but you're not finding it as effective for fat loss. This is the point I wanted to bring home, is that maybe there's a couple of tweaks we can make to get it to work a little bit more effectively for you. One of those tweaks is to make sure that it is a fasting period. So that doesn't mean getting up at 5 or 6 or 7 and having your cup of coffee, and then again at 8 or 9 and having another cup of coffee with milk, and then going at 12 o'clock, I'm going to break my fast. Because the reality is you've already broken that when you've had the milk. So the guidelines are it's fasting. So what can you have on a fast is black tea, black coffee. There's some good evidence to show that both of those have a thermogenic effect in terms of increasing sensitivity, hormone sensitivity, in terms of stabilising blood sugar levels, but also in terms of increasing the fat burning benefit. So yes, some good effects if done correctly. And so that doesn't mean like I'll just have a little cookie or a little this or a little that, because that's not fasting. And I was chatting to one of you last week who said that I just have a little bit of this or a little bit of that. But then again, it's not fasting. The whole premise of normally I'd have a whiteboard and I'd draw you a little picture, but if you look at your blood sugar levels are stable when we're not eating. You see a spike in your blood sugar level when you eat, and at the top of that peak, insulin is high, and you can't burn fat in the presence of insulin. So when your insulin levels are high, there's no fat burning going on, which is the whole premise of intermittent fasting, is that when you're stable down here, is that you get the maximum fat burning when the blood sugar levels are stable and insulin levels are low. So you eat, insulin spikes, and fat burning decreases. So the whole premise of that is to keep that blood sugar level stable and to reduce that insulin spike. So you, interestingly, I had a look at the Sanchiro's no sugar hot chocolate just recently, and it said no sugar, but it has 80 grams of carbohydrates, 80% carbohydrate effectively. What that means is that carbohydrates have the same effect on the body as sugar. Their carbohydrate is just it's a simple, they're a different form of sugar in the way that your body utilizes it. So carbohydrate intake also has that increase on the spikes the insulin levels. So carbohydrate or sugar intake both spike insulin levels, which inhibits your fat loss. So if you have any questions on it, come and ask me, because it's frustrating. It's a bit heartbreaking to see people trying their hardest to use what is a very effective strategy and just miss a couple of really key bits, and then unfortunately that strategy not be effective. A little bit like time out and behavior management. We know it's an effective strategy, but we also know it's often misused. It's more often misused than correctly used, and I think that's the same with intermittent fasting or a fasting period. Most of us, some people go, oh, intermittent fasting, it's a new radical thing. Most of the time your grandparents would have used intermittent fasting, so would have had their last meal at 6 o'clock, and they would have had a good 12 or 13 hours before their next meal in the morning. Or they might have gone out to work the next morning before having their meal, which is an even better way of expediting your fat loss in terms of having some physical activity before you break your fast, before breakfast. Alright, so a couple of pointers there. One, fast means fast. That means no calorie intake. What that includes is things like, so yes, for tea, black coffee, water. No, for tea or coffee with milk, then it's not a fast. You get that spike because it has a form of milk has a form of lactose, which is sugar that your body can readily utilize, which inhibits your fat burning potential. All right, so let me know what you thought. Any questions or comments, come up and let me know, because as I said, I'd hate for you guys to keep going and not getting the results that you deserve because you've just missed a few tweaks with the what is and can be for you a really effective strategy. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you.